Hi everyone, and welcome back to Up Next. I'm Carrie. I'm joined as usual by my beautiful and talented co-host Kalen. We've got the giggles today, but we will persist nonetheless. We're here to talk about our favorite new releases that came out over the weekend. We're giving you our broad strokes and our first impressions for some albums that we're excited to get a little more familiar with. How's it going, Kalen?
I'm so excited to chat with you today about all the new albums that have come out. I found a lot of stuff. It was hard for me to narrow it down to these three.
It was a broad array of music this week. A lot of stuff came out. First of all, there were a ton of releases. I think we are hitting good weather. We're hitting people are creating with others.
It's time.
It's time. There's always a big rush around the summer, so we're heading that direction. And yeah, like you said, a lot of good stuff. Hard to narrow down our list, but we have, nevertheless. Which means what we have skimmed off the top here is only the best for you.
The best of the best.
Our loyal fans.
The best.
Tell me about your very first album.
Sure, I will start off with We Invented Work for the Common Good by AAA Gripper is how we have decided to say this band name.
Mm-hmm. It rolls off the tongue a little better than AAA Gripper.
I would agree. So
yeah.
AAA Gripper, Triple Dipper? Sponsored? I don't know. Anyway, this album kind of reminded me of the new McCluskey record that we talked about last week. I know a lot of people really enjoyed that release. I did too, and so you'll probably like this one as well. It is...
Yeah, keep those vibes going.
Yes, it is anti-work noise rock. And yeah, it has kind of a similar punchy sound and those same snarky, sarcastic, pointed vocals. But this record is even more direct, whereas the McCluskey album it was a little more abstract,
right?
You could tell
interpretation,
right. And this one has a pretty clear message about work and how if you are spending all of your time performing manual labor, then you don't really have too much energy to do anything else. Yeah, so it's really
when you clock out and sleep.
Yeah, so it's really, really convenient, and it's a good way to keep your population kind of in check if everyone's like, nose to the grindstone.
Exhausted.
Yeah, if everyone's exhausted all the time. Right, so that's kind of what this record is about. And there's a little more focus on the storytelling and the message here, so I highly recommend this one.
Yeah, super cool. Can I tell you about my first album?
Yes.
Great. My pick is Flowers for the Living by Mourning, a Black Star. This is a collective based out of Cleveland, Ohio, and it's kind of psychedelic neo-soul. It's tagged as experimental and Afro-futuristic, and basically it just sounds really good.
This was absolutely beautiful. Yeah. I loved all of the excerpts you showed me from this. I feel like people clown on Ohio as a state and say that there's no culture and there's nothing happening, but there absolutely is.
Yeah, there's some cool shit going on. You helped describe this as like bizarro lounge music.
Yeah.
It's very spacey, like I said, very futuristic, but it's still got that slowness, that like weird washed out guitar and stuff. Neo soul. Got some verses laid over it. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely more of like the soul and funk thing happening here. It's definitely branching out of the lineage of the Sun Ra extended universe.
Yeah.
But
there's that's a great reference. Yeah, for
there's
sure.
a lot more going on to beyond just like the like psychedelic jazz thing.
It's very densely layered. There's like 7 or 8 people in the group, something like that. There's this big group photo with everyone,
it's
which
awesome.
I just love. Yeah. And that I mean, obviously, even if it's just a solo project or a duo, you can layer a lot of stuff in the studio, but I do feel like when you have a lot of people and a lot of creative forces like that, you get these really beautifully layered and dense arrangements that way.
Yes, and once you have those like creative juices flowing, especially like in a group setting like that, it just like keeps getting bigger and bigger and crazier, and I feel like that is captured so perfectly on this record.
Love.
Great.
Thank you so much.
I have an album that is similar in that it's like a retro-futuristic, not retro though, because this album that I'll be talking about, We Carry Eden, featuring Omar Ka by Son of Chi.
Calling this retro is a little bit of an understatement.
Not retro, yeah, retro as in like way
ancient,
like way back. Yeah. This pulls inspiration from tribal and folk music, spoken word, field recordings.
Yeah, it's sort of that primitive folk revival type
right
thing.
And it also features some spoken word from the artist's longtime collaborator Omar Ka. I mean, he's mentioned in the album title, and that's very fitting because this is only 2 tracks, but there's a spoken word piece that's kind of split between the 2 tracks here. This poet hails from the West African nomadic Fulani tribe, which is really rich and has a very rich storytelling culture in it. So this sort of parable or story that he tells, I think, comes from some of those legends. And it's mixed with this really beautiful blend of jazz and dub and field recordings to really like create an immersive story. It's really beautiful.
Stitch it all together.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that type of thing. And, you know, we have a couple projects like this that have a concept of a sort of primitive society, but it's in the future at the same time. Mm-hmm. And when you get to thinking about it, that makes it kind of post-apocalyptic in a way, which is cool too. That. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, this comes out of like the fourth world genre, which some people might be familiar with. But if you're not, it does refer to that sound where you're taking these like very old folk songs or like tribal type of music and then combining it with more like advanced electronic techniques to create this sound that is like somewhere in the middle.
Right in the middle. Yeah. And very beautiful. Love this project. Very excited to dig a little deeper.
Yeah. So rich, so cool. I really, really connected with this record.
Awesome.
It's beautiful.
Glad to hear it. Can I tell you about my next
Totally.
album? The next album I want to talk about is Reflection of Another Self by Milena Casado. This is for our jazz heads. I know we had a jazz corner last week that, you know, had mixed reviews. You know, maybe that stuff wasn't your taste. I highly recommend you still give this one a shot. This one is very bold. It's very fresh, experimental jazz. This is an artist based out of Spain, Milena Casado, and it's gorgeous. It's jazz, but it's also got chunks of R&B. It's super bright, super energetic, ebbs and flows really nicely. Even its ballads are really dense and have a ton of different instrumentation. Yeah, a lot of different vocal features on it and stuff.
Yeah, there's some great verses on that too. Yeah. Some of this reminded me a little bit of Oxa, who we covered last year. Also doing like jazz rap with a heavy focus on the jazz side. And this project kind of does a similar thing too, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a great connection to make too. I just love how it's very energetic and introspective at the same time.
Awesome.
It's a great one.
This next album, this is the actual Retro-Futuristic album that I meant to talk about. When I said Retro-Futuristic, this really fits the bill. It is Loose Enchantment by Coffin.
Oh yeah, this one's really cool.
Yes, and what makes this Retro-Futuristic is because this artist is using a lot of actual like roll-in samples and sounds that are instantly recognizable if you've ever listened to music. You're like
specifically from like the 80s and 90s, right?
Yeah, from like specifically like the 80s. You're like, this is
chunk.
Whitney Houston.
Fully.
But the arrangements are really bizarre, so it's sort of like new wavy, sort of electro punk. I don't want to call it like egg punk, and it's not quite punk either. I think that's why I'm leaning more towards calling this like an experimental new wave moment.
Yeah, I like that. I like that for it.
And this artist is from Los Angeles, and that sound is really steeped in this record too.
It is very energetic. There's almost like a jangliness to it.
For sure.
That's really cool.
But when you listen to it, because of those like weird composition things and some of the subject matter, it does read as a little off kilter. So it's like LA in the way that David Lynch is LA.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like these two things are inextricable, but it's not so much like the shiny, pretty, perfect LA, and more like LA when it's 110 degrees outside and it's like I don't know.
And when it sucks.
No, not like it sucks, but it's just that weird kind
the
of
weird side of it.
Yeah, the seedy underbelly. It's not that. I don't know if this gets that seedy, but check it out. Yeah,
it's got that skew to it where everything, you know, I don't know.
It's just a little weird, which is why I made it on the list. If it was like perfectly clean and crisp and pretty, then I probably wouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's, I guess, I don't know. I'm still trying to expand on this LA point. I don't think I can. We might just need to move on.
Well, they talk about it more in the liner notes, which are also pretty abstract, but I think they kind of do hit at the vibe of this record, so I can't be too mad.
Refer to the liner notes. They're going to put it better than I'm going to try
Refer to the album. Go listen to the record.
I have one more album to tell you about, Kalen.
What you got?
My final album is kind of also in our futuristic concept realm that we've been in today. Ooh, future. The album is by Milian Mori, and it's Triality. It's put out, I think they're from Germany, and it's put out on a German-based record label, Roster. And it's great. It's kind of experimental electronic music, more skewed towards the, like, trip-hop side. It's kind of IDM, nothing too crazy to, like, boogie down to, kind of mid-tempo electronic stuff. But very cool, very shiny and futuristic. And it basically, it's really cool. Basically, it's great. Basically, it's good and I liked it.
Awesome. Sometimes it can be hard to get super in depth with these records, the like experimental electronic stuff, because you're like, it goes.
It like makes you want to dance a little bit.
You're like Mr. Krabs. You're like, can you play the one that goes beep boop 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 beep?
Yes, hello. I was wondering if you could play that song again.
Which one, man?
The one that goes bee boo boo bop boo boo beep.
No, man, you're thinking of beep boo boo bop boo boo bop.
Bee boo 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 bop. Bee boo boo bop.
Literally, that's exactly what's going on here. Where I'm like, you're just gonna have to take my word for it. You're just gonna have to go find it and listen to it.
But yeah, definitely for fans of IDM and stuff, this is a fun release, especially because it does pull more of the influence from trip hop as well. So there's some like groovy melodies and like beats happening here, whereas IDM can be a little nerdy.
It's not overly nerdy. I just don't feel. I just look at it versus what I would describe as like body music, and I wouldn't call
or like
this that.
EDM. Yeah, it doesn't really fit into any of those things.
I think it's a little more introspective. Yeah,
I think you could definitely call this IDM.
Yeah. So it's super cool.
Mm-hmm. Nice, quick, speedy episode today.
Listen.
We can have a nice extended outro.
Concise.
Do we chat about the Amyl and the Sniffers show we went to?
Oh, we did go see Amyl and the Sniffers. I have been meaning to look up the capacity of the venue that we saw them at.
Ooh, talk extemporaneously, and I'll get that information.
Okay, yeah, we were at the show. There was a shit ton of people there. What I really enjoyed about the show, obviously the band itself was going to be great. We knew that. We knew it was going to be super energetic and super fun. I really liked the wide array of people in the crowd. I liked that there were a bunch of tough hardcore guys. I liked that there were a bunch of pretty girls. I liked that there were a bunch of scary people.
I liked there were a bunch of tough hardcore girls. There were a bunch of pretty guys. Yeah, there were a bunch of everyone was there.
Everyone was there. There were old people. There were young people.
The venue holds 25,000. They tell me
25,000 or 2,500.
2,500.
Okay.
The venue holds 2,500.
500.
The venue holds 2,500 people. That's great. So we have that information. But we're probably closer to like 3,000.
I don't know because I don't think the show sold out, girl.
There's no way to know.
But there were a lot of people. I would say there were probably 2,000 people there, and it was thrashy the whole time. It was so cool.
I was fighting for my life in the pit.
But like the first 2/3 of the first level of the crowd was all pit. Like,
and I love going to shows in Philly. It is such a breath of fresh air from Nashville.
Yeah, Nashville where it's.
Yeah, I love seeing people moving and dancing. I love being people moving and dancing. I love the giant circle pit that broke out. It's great.
I loved all the set list. I knew all but like 2 or 3 songs. I love that we literally ran into our friends Jessica and Dan in the crowd. Shout out, friend of the pod.
I loved all of the like between song chats.
Yes,
too.
I love Amy. I love everything she has to say. I love her mind.
I love her passion. I love her energy. Mm-hmm. And whenever her bandmates spoke, I was like, I don't know if they're actually speaking English. I couldn't really understand.
They started an oi chant.
They did an oi chant. That was very exciting.
It
reawoken. It reawoken the old like punk energy.
I started skanking right there,
which is great because I'm going to Las Vegas this weekend.
Oh yeah, is that what you're excited about?
Yes, that is my thing. I'm excited about for the week. Is going to Las Vegas. This is fine. Whatever.
So I wanted to cover punk rock bowling in Las Vegas, and I haven't heard back from them, so I'm probably not gonna go.
But you are gonna go to the Punk Rock Museum.
I am gonna go to the Punk Rock Museum. They've been super awesome.
Very
and
sweet.
I'm really excited to chat with them. And they have some people there that I'm gonna talk about and do a whole like interview, record.
Maybe get some intel. Yeah. Maybe get a video if nothing else. Get your voice memos out and write it up, baby.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what's going on. What am I looking forward to this week? I'm tired, man. I don't know. I've been running around a lot recently, man. I'm excited to take it easy this week. It's been busy. My mom was in town, which was absolutely wonderful. Very grateful for that. And my week before that was busy, and my week before that was busy. I want to check some things off my goddamn to-do list.
I think, I want
to be done.
Yeah, whenever you have visitors, it's just like, okay, everything has to kind of press pause. You have to play tour guide, and you're like, okay, so now I need to like,
which is great, and it's kind of a break for myself too.
That's true.
But dang, I gotta get a move on.
Wow. Do we have to get a move on?
I think we best get a move on. I think it's time to cook dinner. Thank you again for joining us for another episode of Up Next. I hope you enjoy some of these albums. If you did, let us know. If you didn't,
comment something you did enjoy.
No, if you didn't, still let us know.
Oh yeah, we take constructive criticism.
My haters make me stronger. Bye.